Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for being here today. My name is Jonah from Spotlight, and hop in the comments. Let me know you're here. Let me know where you're tuning in from, what you're excited to learn today. I am thrilled for this event today. I am a music producer, audio engineer, video engineer. So when it comes to video and audio, this is my jam. I am thrilled for today. And I am curious where you are all at in your process. Do you have some equipment? Have you gotten started recording video? You know you want to, but you haven't gotten into it yet. We're going to cover everything from the gear to some techniques to just general mindset for outputting good quality video and audio. I am a huge proponent in general of not needing the best quality media to still start your business, to get things going. In most cases, I think the content of your videos or your podcast or whatever media you're outputting, the content, the actual quality of that content is still going to be the number one thing that connects you with your audience. However, nowadays it is quite easy to get really high quality video and audio and at least start your journey to that pro level setup like I have right now. I'm using a DSLR and a bunch of lights. I can, change that. I'm realizing I'm looking a little overexposed there. But it took me years to develop the budget and all of the tools I needed to get to this point. But we're going to cover everything from just what you can do in your very basic setup if you have a phone, all the way to what you need if you really want to be outputting professional level video and audio. So, we're going to dive in a second, but I just want to call out a few people. Jamie, it's great to have you here. Carrie, so stoked to have you. Napur, thank you for being back. It was a blast talking to you yesterday and having you in the event. So I am super stoked to have you all here. Also, throughout this event, if you have any questions at all, drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them as we go. If I don't answer your question right away, I've set aside some time at the end to try and get to all your questions. I am trying to cover a lot today, and any single one of these elements I'm covering could be a whole event in itself. So even if I can't get to your question or can't answer it right away, drop it in there, however broad or specific it is, and we'll answer it in the comments. We'll add future events to address those. We really want to make sure here at Spotlight that we are covering everything you need to help start your successful online business. As a digital entrepreneur, there are many challenges in the way, and we're committing to helping you along that journey. So drop any comments you have, any questions you have, and also feel free to share your school, where you're at, any products you have, your YouTube channel. There's always a great community here. So it is delightful to see what everyone is up to. And if I'm moving fast today, or you have to get up away from the computer, or if you weren't able to make the live event today, there will be a replay. It'll be on the Spotlight YouTube channel. It'll also be on the Spotlight website event page and emailed to you if you RSVP'd for the event, along with some extra resources and goodies, which I'll talk about at the end. And the last thing I want to say before we dive in is just to go check out the Spotlight YouTube page. For the last month and a half, we've been specifically designing events to address the challenges we've heard from you, our audience, you have in the process of developing your online business. So we've been covering everything from marketing to media, like we're doing today, to just general mindset, to building curriculum, to building lead magnets. We're trying to cover it all. So if you want additional resources, please head over to that Spotlight YouTube channel. That's just Spotlight by Teachable, and check out all of the videos and events we've been putting out lately. And make sure to comment. Let us know if it was useful. I know commenting is good for the algorithms, but also I got to accentuate, we really, really care that these events are making an impact in your journey. So let us know if they are, let us know if they're not, and let us know what you think we should cover. We love hearing all of that. Gene, uh, Marili, sorry if I mispronounced that, and Peter, thank you for joining us today. So, without further ado, let's dive in. And if you have ever started your journey to building a video or audio setup, whether you want to make a podcast or if you want to make YouTube videos or TikToks or just make content for your online course, you know that right off the bat, you're probably going to fail the first time. I've never worked with a client or myself or helped anyone who has set up a camera and their mic or just tried to film on their phone and got it right the first time. So, throughout this entire event, I want you to remember, and I will restate it many times, that this takes practice and time to develop, both in your setup, excuse me, both in your actual setup and just you. The ability to present confidently in front of camera takes work. So understand as we get into all of this that you're gonna have to work that muscle, both your setup and your own presentation, many, many times before you get it right. But that said, I encourage you to continue to focus on the content of your videos or your audio. And if it is good content, put it out. You'll always get better as you go, and you will get to that point. But the underlying theme here is you can look and sound like a pro. You just need a couple pieces of gear and some techniques to really make it come through. So, what we're going to cover today, we're going to walk through some of the gear you need. And that's a big phrase. You really don't need much to get started. In most cases, you already have the basic gear. I'm just going to cover some things for those people here who are ready to invest either a little or a lot of money to really upgrade their setup. I want to make sure that we cover all sides of the spectrum because some people do want to come out with a bang and be ready to go. So we're going to cover the gear. We're going to cover your home studio setup. And I'm going to give you some basic techniques that you can employ in just about any room big enough for you to sit in that will make sure that you are getting the best quality available to you. And that's going to be our attitude throughout this whole event. It's not that you need to have the perfect studio setup. Like I said, right now, I am sitting in my own home studio, which I only just finished setting up, and it's been years since I've had a studio like this. It takes the right situation, the right gear, the right timing, and a house that I own to be able to do all of these things. So we're just going to be continually making things better as we go, starting at the bottom and moving all the way to the top. The next thing you're going to need to make really impactful videos is some editing software, which we'll cover. I have two free options available for you. One that is more recent, which is Canva. They recently added really pretty comprehensive video editing function, and it's a really great platform to get into. And then we are going to briefly cover just some mindset tips, some things I've learned over years of making videos and podcasts myself, as well as helping all of my video and podcast clients throughout their journey. And I used to work in the live music and studio music production industry. So I have worked years to get to this point. I just got to keep stating that. So you all give yourself a break if you're not getting quite what you want right away. It's taken years to accumulate all the knowledge and confidence that I have around these topics. But I'm going to share with you some of my number one tips for how I output professional quality video and audio nowadays. So, let's start with the gear you need. And I'm going to cruise through this a little bit because there's a lot of options here, but I encourage you to screenshot anything. Once again, you can always come back in the replay and watch any of this. But let's dive in. There are some baseline levels of gear you need to make really high quality video or audio. If you're just focused in the audio world, you're going to need a microphone and some headphones that allow you to monitor yourself, hear what you're doing, and also reference, because it is so important to check our audio with headphones that other people will listen on. It's a super common trope in the recording industry that you work your butt off making audio sound really, really good on your headphones. And then the minute you put it in a car or something else, it sounds like garbage. So having a set of headphones just to reference aside from speakers is really important. You're also going to need a camera, but once again, your phone is a fantastic camera and you'll rarely need anything more. You just need a little bit of know how and some experimentation to find the right situation. And lighting. You don't need a fancy lighting setup, but a camera is like an eyeball and it does need light to work. So the more light you can get, the better, the more natural that light looks, the better off you're going to be. So let's cover each of these briefly. I want to start with microphones, and I want to start with just some basic microphone fundamentals because I find that it's a lot easier to figure out what's going on with a camera than it is with a microphone. Microphones are kind of these magical, mystical things, but let's talk just briefly about what a microphone actually is. So, a microphone, this is a kind of microphone. You're generally going to find three kinds of microphones. You're going to have a dynamic mic, a condenser mic, and a ribbon microphone. We're going to write off ribbon mics right away because ribbon mics are generally only used in recording music. They're really high fidelity. You might see them in old school videos of doo-wop performances and stuff. They're really cool, useless for what we're doing when we're talking about creating content. The other two kinds of mics, condensers and dynamic mics, are going to be often what you see. Condenser mics are very sensitive and they can capture a large area around them. This is great if, say, you want one mic to capture a group of people, or if you want to stand far away from the mic and capture it. But the one thing about that sensitivity is it's also going to capture a lot of room noise. So the three kind of mics I'm going to be suggesting are all dynamic mics. They're best used when you're nice and close up to them, although some of them are a little more versatile. But I want to get into some basics just because I think it helps demystify what microphones are and also makes it a little easier to understand where you might be going wrong. So, a microphone is at essence a filament that sits in a neutral position. I promise, I'm sure there's some nerds who are loving this, but I'll make this quick, but hang with me. A microphone is a filament or a capsule, basically a piece of material that sits in a neutral position. And as your voice or sound impacts that, it moves either in a positive or negative direction. That positive and negative movement is what makes a wave of audio, and that is translated to a digital format. That's the basics of it. But the important thing to understand there is that there's a couple ways that this filament can be adjusted, and that is usually referred to as your gain or gain staging. One way is many mics will come with a knob on them. This mic itself doesn't have one because I have an audio interface over here that has a gain knob. Gain is not volume, it adjusts the sensitivity of the microphone. So the more you put it up, the further away you'll be able to get away from the microphone, but also the more that microphone is going to capture of the room around. The lower you put it, the closer you're going to have to be to the microphone, but the more focused that mic is going to be. So if you find that you're capturing a lot of the room sound, you can turn your gain down and get closer to the mic. If you find that you have to hug the mic too close and you want a little more distance, you're probably also hearing the difference when I move closer and further away. You can turn your gain down and get a little closer to mic. The other place you can immediately adjust your gain is how close to the mic you are. So if your audio is too quiet, move closer to the microphone. Microphones need to capture these frequencies, the sound waves, in order to turn it into usable audio. So moving close and far from the mic and using your gain adjustment is how you control the sensitivity of a microphone. I just wanted to cover these basics because One of the most common things I see with people just starting out with their audio is they're either way too close to the mic, their gain is turned all the way up, they're not quite sure what those things do. And what you're going to result in is either audio that's far too quiet, which means when you turn it up, you're going to get a lot of noise because it's capturing like tiny little noises and also trying to capture you. And so when you turn it all up, you get a bad signal. Or the flip side is what we call clipping. You're going to hear this as distortions or pops or grit, that kind of sound. And that's when when you're pushing your mic over its limits. So your gain is too high, you're too close. You'll most commonly hear this with laughter or clapping when a mic is well gained, but then there's a really strong signal going through it. So those are the two ends of the spectrum that we want to avoid. We're going to sit somewhere in between there. And depending on your mic, that's going to change a little. And depending on the software, how you're routing it, those functions are available in different ways. So make sure whatever mic or software you're using to record your audio, make sure you locate those level or gain settings so that you have control over it. I see it super often that people just plug a mic in and it's not working and they think it's a bad mic, but every camera, every phone, every recording device will have some way to control the gain. If nothing else, if you plug a mic into your computer, like a USB mic or something, your system software will have the ability to control the gain of the mic. So I'm gonna veer off of that path. I could go into microphones forever, but I hope and let me know if that information is useful because I feel like just understanding the basic principles of what a microphone is going to allow you to diagnose problems down the road. In most cases, your mic isn't broken, the mic isn't the problem. You just have to locate the places where you can control the level or gain settings. So when it comes to microphones that are going to be good for making content, there's kind of three general mics that you're going to look for. One is called a Lav Mic, and they look just like this. I know I have an image, but they're like these little things. They can clip on to your shirt and they're just going to sit there. The advantage of these mics is since they're very close to the speaker, they're going to be very clear. You're going to hear the person. There are disadvantages given that if you can't find a good place to place it, you're going to get rustling noise. It's not recommended to use this one mic for multiple people because your voice will be a lot louder than other people talking. So it all takes a little futzing around to get it right. But if you're just recording yourself and just recording video or something like that, these mics are fantastic. And most of them, whether you need a dongle or if they just come this way, they are ready to go, ready to plug into your phone. They'll replace your phone's microphone the minute you plug it in, and you'll have the option to be much closer and clearer with it. You'll also see these a lot on TikTok. People are just holding them, using them like that. They are a dynamic microphone like all three of these. But the other beauty of them is they're cheap. You really can get one for like $10 that is going to be better than your camera microphone. Um, at least to the point where it's more focused, it's closer to you. I prefer that sound because there's less room in it. But again, you can utilize these different things to get a different vibe. So the next option you're going to have is a shotgun microphone. I'm going to grab mine here so I can show you all. A shotgun microphone looks more like this. And these are built to either sit on top of a camera or you can have a little like tripod shoe mount. But these are much more. Oh, my camera's going out of focus there. These are much more built for capturing in a specific direction, but further away. So these are fantastic microphones if you don't want to be wearing something but you still want to have a focus signal and be recording exactly what's in front of uh, the microphone. So a lot of YouTubers prefer this. It allows a little more flexibility. If you're going to get up and move around the room, it'll still capture decent audio. And these can either plug directly into your phone or into your camera and replace that. Or if you have a separate camera, you can record directly to your phone. So you have two sources of audio, which is always a good thing to have a backup while you're going. The third kind of microphone, I just labeled a podcast mic, which is not what they're technically called, but it's going to be kind of like what you're seeing me use here today. So they are bigger, usually more professional, usually higher quality, but they really are built to be within about a foot distance. However, I think they look really cool. You'll see them all over TikTok and YouTube and all of that. They are really an industry standard because they sound fantastic. They're easy to set up. They're inviting to look at. They look professional and they're super versatile. So if you're someone getting into multimedia, maybe you play music as well, or you're interested in hosting a podcast, doing various things, these mics are fantastic. I personally recommend looking at the Shure MV7. And if you don't want to get an additional interface, which is common with a lot of higher end microphones because they don't actually have the ability to plug directly into your computer or your phone, I highly recommend looking for a USB microphone. So nowadays, there's a lot of really high quality microphones, and the Shure MV7 is a fantastic microphone that can plug directly into your computer. So you don't have to worry about a bunch of other gear, which makes it a wonderful microphone too if you want to stay professional, but maybe also you're traveling or moving locations. A lot of options there, but you can see everything from $10 to $500. You can get a really, really quality microphone, or you can get a couple different kinds depending on the setup that you want to have. So, the next thing you're going to want is just some basic headphones, and this depends. Sorry. I'm getting a question here I want to answer. Nancy is saying, which is the best microphone easily transportable if you want to interview someone on camera? Would it be a shotgun mic mounted on an iPhone? Nancy, so if I were you, I would have two options. I would have a shotgun mic mounted on your iPhone. That's a great option because wherever you point that microphone, it's going to do a pretty good job of picking it up. They also come with little windscreens, like you saw. For outdoor recording and all of that, they're pretty darn good quality. That is what a lot of content producers that's their go-to. However, I would also recommend picking up a $5-10 lav mic that you can have on hand in case you really, really want closer, clear audio. You can switch out, plug that in, or if you have the shotgun mic on your iPhone and another phone, you can plug that into the other phone so you have dedicated audio just for that person. And you can either clip the lav onto them or hand it to them and say, go ahead, do your thing. And you'll have a couple options, which is always advantageous in video or audio to have a few options in case one of them doesn't work out. Hope that answered your question, Nancy. Let me know if I missed anything there. Um, no, I'm not gonna. Marily, I'm not gonna save this for the future. I'm a little confused regarding the difference between a community and a membership on Teachable. Oh, that is for the future. Okay, Marily, I'll try and answer that. Thank you for tagging that. Sorry, I thought you were saying the difference between mics. Love it. That is a great question. I will try and answer that near the end. So I'm going to save that question. But if I don't, that is a fantastic question. We'll definitely come and answer in the future. The next thing you're going to need is a decent pair of headphones. And there's two reasons you could need this. One, in my case, where I'm listening to like the little theme song and stuff, but also recording, or if you're recording multiple people in a room, or if you're doing a live Zoom event, you'll hear often, if you've ever heard an echo on Zoom, that's because someone is playing the audio back through their speakers. So it comes out of the speakers into the microphone and creates a feedback loop or an echo like that. You can solve that really simply by just having a pair of headphones. Most of the times, that's a great solution. So If you're interested in doing live events or anything where there's going to be other people talking to you, headphones are important. The other important aspect of having a decent pair of headphones is to be able to hear and monitor your audio. So, whether that's when you're out and recording, a lot of cameras, you have the ability to plug headphones in and listen to the audio you're capturing at the same time. It's a little trickier with an iPhone, but it is possible with some dongles and all those things. But if nothing else, you want to be able to listen to your audio after the fact on the same platform that a lot of people are going to listen on. So, a couple recommendations here and the baseline of just AirPods. I know I have the wireless ones pictured here, but the wired ones, which you could grab for like 15 bucks, are great. I am a big proponent of having a pair of shitty headphones lying around because that is what most people listen to stuff on. So you want to make sure that it sounds good on the platform that most people are going to be listening on, because ultimately, even if you make a great recording or it sounds fantastic, if it doesn't sound good the way that most people listen to it, what's the point? So, AirPods, always have a pair on hand, wired, or if you want to invest to have the wireless ones to use otherwise, that's great. When it comes to over the ear headphones, I've just given a couple options here. The ATH MX20X headphones by Audio Technica are fantastic beginner level over the ear headphones. They're great for monitoring, they're great for listening, and they're great for just listening to music too. So if you like listening to music, you like listening to hi-fi music, they're a fantastic option. Or if you're willing to spend a little more money, the DT770s are absolutely fantastic. They're the headphones I use. If you're also into any music production, or if you just really enjoy listening to music on a good pair of headphones, these are fantastic. Um, I just want to check in on a couple questions here. Showing my hands close up. Can I hang a shotgun mic overhead where my camera will be? Yes, you absolutely can. And I highly encourage playing around with mic placement. I know I just talked a little bit briefly about how close you are to the mic, but the other thing you can experiment with is where the mic is. So my shotgun mic lives right over here, and it's about 2 feet from my face, pointed directly at my face. So that's an option. But you can definitely hang a shotgun above you. That's very common, especially in video. If you've ever seen bloopers of the like microphone barely poking down, they'll often put it right above. You just want to make sure that it is aimed at your voice and not behind you. Behind is the only thing to avoid there. And another great question here, Carrie is saying, I have hearing aids that input directly into my ears via Bluetooth. Would these work as headphones? Yes, immediately off the bat. And the other thing is, I think there's 2 points to what I was saying about the AirPods. One is that you want to listen on a common platform. So, also just checking on your iPhone speakers is fantastic. But you also want to listen on a platform that you know well. So, if you know your hearing aids really well, which I imagine you do if you're wearing them often, definitely use those as a frame of reference. And what you should be doing is going and listening to high quality creators. I'll list a few in a minute. Watching other people's and listening to other people's podcasts and video and comparing it to yours with a critical ear and trying to pick out what the differences are. And right at the beginning, just start out by trying to hear if the mic sounds really close or if it sounds further away in the room, and use that as your initial function for choosing what kind of quality of sound you're going to create. That's the number one way to create a difference in vibe, is just distance from the microphone. So, headphones, there's a couple options, but the main point I want to get through is just that you have a pair of headphones either for live recording so you don't get echoes, or or for referencing, so when you're listening back to your audio, you have a good reference of what other people will hear. The next thing you're going to want is a camera. Now, in most cases, most people, I have an iPhone here, but Android, anything, most phones past the year 2016 have incredible cameras on them. They're absolutely phenomenal, and it just takes some tweaking to figure out quite exactly how they'll work. The one thing I will say across the board, one of the biggest mistakes I see is people starting to film with the front facing camera, which is appealing because it allows you to see yourself. And on the newer phones, the iPhone 12, 13, there is really high quality cameras there. But in most cases, the best quality on a phone is going to be from the back cameras. So make sure if you feel like you're not getting good quality video from your phone alone, the first thing you can do is try and filming yourself with the back camera. You might need a friend to help you set it up, or you can also set it up, sit down, do a little, go watch it, go back and forth. You're going to have to play around a little bit before you get the exact angle you like. But once you do, lock it in, put tape on the floor, mark your tripods, figure out how to save that setting within the room you're in so you have it for future reference. If you want to have a couple cameras, or if you want to have your phone, you don't like the idea of using your phone, the newer GoPros are absolutely fantastic. I also think it's just a great investment if you're going to be making any content outside of just one room. The GoPro also does allow you to sync with your phone, so you can have the GoPro up and see on your phone what the GoPro is seeing. So it's a great way to get that high quality camera, but also have a frame of reference so you don't have to be filming and checking and filming and checking and filming and checking. Also, if you know anything about GoPros, you can get attachments to put them underwater, to put them on a bike, to put them anywhere. So for anywhere in the used area of 300 to the brand new of $600, if you're ready to get a versatile, small, compact, but high quality camera, GoPros are awesome. If you're ready to really make the big investment, a DSLR is what you're going to need to really get that high quality footage and to get what we call bokeh, which is that if you can see the difference of the foreground and the background, where the background is blurred, that comes from a really nice lens. And to have a really nice lens, you usually need a decent camera to put a good lens on it. However, my camera that I have is a Sony A6300. Back when I bought it, it was like 1,200 bucks, but you can grab one for like $400 now. And you're really gonna be investing in a lens. That is the one downside, really, to DSLRs, is even if you find a cheap camera, it's worth spending $1,000 on a lens. So you're getting into the upper range of things. But if you're interested in photography, interested in videography, it is a worthwhile investment. I'm going to say this at a few points too, but if you are looking to make content for yourself, but you get good with a DSLR, you now have a sellable skill. So I never had the intention of being a videographer, but if I get called to a video shoot now, I know my camera well enough that I feel like I can hold up in most cases to do most things you would need in like a advertisement, or if I'm covering a live event, whatever that is, you can add a lot of value to your business and have another side hustle if you get to know a DSLR. So if you have the money, go ahead and spend it. If it's a little more of a stretch, I would say keep in your mind that it is a skill that you're going to build to be able to use and sell. I see a question coming in, so I want to ask it. Would you attach one of the microphones you mentioned before to the GoPro, or does it already have a very good embedded mic? So the GoPro's mic it's pretty incredible just in a room what the GoPro mic can do. However, I would recommend, if you're recording YouTube videos or you're sitting down and you're in one place and can afford the option of having a mic, that you get an external mic that you either plug into the GoPro, or you plug that external mic into your phone and record the audio on your phone, whether it's in voice memos or other software. And you also record the GoPro audio, and then you can choose. You have the ability to choose between the two. Super valuable to have two versions of audio from two different sources, especially when you're starting out, so you can really get a feel for what those two different things sound like. I will say that stuff like that is worth just playing around with. You have to play around and see what suits you, what suits your audience. And if you're starting to output videos and stuff and playing with different things, ask your audience. Tell them to comment. Do you like this setup better? Does this work better? Does it communicate better? How does it go? So it's super worth it. And Jeffrey, who's asking my camera, I'm going to just put it right in the comments so it's written down there for you. But when it comes to DSLRs, you can go down a rabbit hole. I would just say that focus on getting a body that's affordable and put most of your money into a lens. The lens is really where you get that high quality from a camera. So, the last thing you're going to need is lighting. And there's a few very basic options. Number one is just a window. The sun is one of the brightest and best lights we have in the known the solar system. And so if you have a window that has good light coming in, you can utilize that light to make a fantastic video. The one downside, of course, is it does require the sun and it can change throughout the day. So it takes a little more fiddling. But if you don't have the money to invest in lights right off the bat, you just need to use a window right to get good light. I'll give you some tips on how to do that in the future. Gene is saying, which DSLR lens would you recommend for macro video and 18 to 24 inches away? Uh, Gene, that's really hard to recommend because different DSLRs have different lens formats. So I can't recommend a lens without knowing the format that you're using. But I'm going to call out a creator in a minute here who has all of that information and is just a badass with everything video. So hold on for a second and I'll give you a resource to dig into that. So, if you're willing to spend a little bit of money for from everywhere from 15 to $200, you can get a ring light. Most people have these now, especially after COVID. My girlfriend's dad, who works in like nonprofits, even has his ring light set up. I think it's adorable. My grandpa has one. Everyone has a ring light because they just simply work. You get really balanced light going all around. It's right on your face. If you're just going to be sitting in front of the camera, a ring light is a fantastic option. And the beauty of ring lights, they usually come with a stand. They usually come with a phone holder in the ring light. So if you're looking for the number way to get started with good light, a ring light is fantastic. The one downside I can say is if you are someone who wears glasses, it can be a little tricky to find an angle where the ring light doesn't reflect in your glasses. You can either take your glasses off to accommodate that, or you have to play with the angle of the camera and the ring light between the two till you find a place where it doesn't visibly reflect. Now, the next option, if you're really ready to upgrade, is to get some stand lights. There'll be LED panels. There's a ton of different versions, but they're typically between $100 and $600. This is what I'm using right now. I have one up here and one over here that are providing with that balanced light. I'll talk about a technique for that in a minute, but in general, if you look up LED video lights, LED panels, you're going to get some decent options. Mine, I think, were like $250 for both lights, plus some soft boxes and a variety of things. So that was a worthwhile investment for me, especially because if I'm ever going and doing a client shoot, I can take those things with me. It's nice to have some good lights on hand in case clients don't, or even if I want to move around. The one downside is you do need a fair amount of space to get a good distance away from you if they're too bright. But there are advantages too. You can get colored ones. There's a lot of variety. And if you're ready to take your videos to the next level, it is worthwhile. However, start with a window, get a ring light if you can, and then your lights, if you're ready to make that investment, are going to be worthwhile. So, got all the gear. Drop any questions if you still have them. We only have 20 minutes left, so I'm going to have to zoom through these next ones a little bit. I know that the gear alone can be intimidating. I wanted to give you some great options in a range of prices. However, let's forget about what gear you have for a minute, because no matter what gear you have, it comes down to the technique that's going to ultimately get you the best possible option with what you have, which is the most important thing throughout, right? We'll upgrade over time, but more than anything, I just want to make sure you have the tools to get the best possible quality of video and audio you can with what you have. So, ideally, what you have in a space is a window, a clean background, some plants or lamps, but that's really just something to spice up the background if you don't like just a clean wall or you don't have a clean wall. And you need at least a little bit of space between you and the camera. With modern phones, it's pretty easy to get a good quality video pretty close up. But if you're having a DSLR or you want to have a little more of your background, I saw someone saying earlier that they want to have their hands in it, you're gonna need a little space. One of the most common mistakes I see most creators make right off the bat when they're jumping into video is just having it too close. So it's like just their head. And although that can be a style, and if it's intentional, great. I think it's often better to have a little bit, at least the chest, the arms. It makes things inviting. Seems like we're in the same room together. And it's just more interesting to watch than just someone's head right up front. I'm sure everyone's seen it in a Zoom meeting somewhere, the person who comes up with just the top of their forehead showing. And that really just comes from being too close to the camera. So you are going to need a little bit of room. And just for reference, my DSLR camera that I have, I think, is standing almost 10 feet away from me right now with a high quality lens on it. So, especially if you're getting into higher quality lenses and different apertures and different zoom lengths, you're going to need a little space between you and the camera. But in general, this is just your very basic setup. And I know this may seem ridiculous at how basic it is, but I've seen people make this mistake time and time again. So if all you have is a window, you want to sit with that window right in front of you. This is going to provide nice, even light onto your face and make it clean and easy to see you. If you want to get a little moody, you can choose to tilt a little so that it's only one side of your face that's being lit and all of that. Those are all style choices. But if you're just looking for clean, beautiful looking light, just put that window right in front of you so the light is coming directly at you. That can get a little tricky with the shadows from panes and stuff. So you're going to have to experiment. You're going to have to try a few different windows. And it's a balance between the window and what's behind you. So you can shift a little bit in either direction if it gets you a better background. But in general, you want to have the light coming in at you. The biggest reason I say this is I see a lot of creators make the mistake of putting the window behind them or like somewhere in the background or reflective surfaces in the background, and that'll give weird light. It'll silhouette you, and it'll also create a distraction for anyone watching. So the window is in front of you, or if you just have one light, like a ring light or anything like that, it's right in front of you, then the camera, then you. It's a very, very basic operation here. But once again, I'm covering the basics because I've seen them ignored so many times. And it's not people necessarily intentionally ignoring it or being ignorant. It's just easy to get carried away thinking the background is more important or other things. But really, good lighting, being able to see someone's face and eyes is going to be the most important thing. So focus on that. Now, whether you have additional lights or if you're using a combination of windows and lamps and just the stuff you have at home, the way you get a nice, clean lighting setup, like I have right now, where everything is clean and clear, and arguably my lights are even a little too bright. That's a mood I'm setting for these events because I want you just to be able to see me clear. But there is a basic principle called the 3-point lighting setup. And what it is you're going to have a key light. For me, my key light is right up there. You're going to have a fill light, which is for me right over there. And then you're going to have a backlight, which for me is actually one of the lamps I have that projects a little light on the back of your head. This is how you really pull the subject out from the background and you get that beautiful bokeh like I have, the blurred background and all of that. And especially, even if you just have an iPhone 13, the new iPhone 13s actually capture that bokeh in a pretty phenomenal way. So that if you're even just looking to upgrade and you have to choose between a camera or a new phone, go for the iPhone 13. You'll get a new phone and you'll have an incredible camera there. But let's just take a little quick look at like how these different lights affect it, because it's important to know what options you have. So right here you can see what the light looks like just with a key light. You're just getting a nice image across one side of the face. Everything is clear and it's placed so that you can see the whole face, but you also kind of have these moody shadows going on. So that is totally a vibe you can pull off just with one light if you just find that right placement kind of up and to the side. And remember, it's going to take experimenting. There's no number one solution for every situation. Up and to the side, you're going to get that beautiful, just one side, but still illuminated aspect. Now, when we add the backlight, you're going to see on the right side of his face, left side of his face, but right side for us, you start getting a clear line along the back of the head and along the shoulder and these kind of highlights. That's going to pull you out of the background. It's going to make your image less flat. And especially if you don't have a fancy camera with a good lens, this is a great way just to make it look more three-dimensional, a little more professional. So the last one, when you add it in, you get the fill light, and now you have, like I have, this full coverage, bright, beautiful image that makes everything clear. It's inviting. It looks professional. But once again, these are three different options you can play with, and you can replace any one of these lights with a window. You can flip your key light for the fill light. You're gonna have to play around to figure out what works here, and you're also gonna have to just play around with what you have available. Start just with some lamps in your house, various elements you just already have around, and then upgrade as you see fit over time. My challenge to you is to get content out there, get your platform going, create courses, sell stuff, and then use the money from the products you create to upgrade. That's a much better business option than just investing thousands right off the bat and hoping that you're going to make money down the line. Uh, so, great question coming in. Wondering, we teach watercolor, so the camera is overhead. How would we light it? Marili, I think I get what you're saying, where you're like having your base right below with the camera up. So I would put the light depending on the light you have, but you're gonna need to play around. Sometimes a window could be good light. It depends, though. For watercolor stuff like that, it's gonna get a little tricky. But if you can have the light and the camera right next to each other, you're gonna have to play around to make sure you don't get any reflections in there. But if you can have the camera, whoop, right above it and then the light next to it, so you're getting even lighting down right on the table, that should result in a good image. However, you might get some shadows from your hand. So if that's the case, you're going to experiment. If you have your This is a little tricky to illustrate. If you have your table, you have your camera above, your light next to it, they're pointing down. Placing a light somewhere along this periphery pointing down and against the shadow is going to help get rid of the shadow that might be distracting. It depends a little. That stuff gets really specific. If you want a consultation, really, go to jonahcohensound.com. I do free half-hour consultations for this stuff. It gets so much easier when I can actually see your setup to give you good advice. And I will be calling out that creator in a sec who has a lot of additional resources. His name is Kevin Chen. We've had Kevin Chen on on Spotlight quite a few times. So right off the bat, we did a great event with him where he dove into his whole setup, how he critiques people and helps them out. But so first off, you can go to the Spotlight YouTube, search Kevin Shen, and you'll see a few events he's done with us. But also, he has a YouTube channel where he goes through everything he can to try and help you out. And if you're really interested in locking down your dream studio setup, he has a cohort based course where everyone comes in with their setup, and you work with him for, I forget how long it is. It's either a month or 2 months refining your setup. And this picture is from one of his lessons where he really starts getting nitpicky about what's in your background, various distractions, how you even out your background, and all of these things. I've worked with Kevin quite a few times to help refine my setup, so that's why I have it like it is, where you can see everything. Oh, and I don't even have my extra lights on. Let's get a little extra vibe going in there, right? So Kevin helped me work on my background and make sure that I had balance between the lights and the various elements there. He is an incredible resource, and even just for diving in, um, to video and all of that, his YouTube is a fantastic place to start. I'm sorry, answering a question in the comments. Uh, you can reach me there. There's a contact form there, or there's a way just to book a direct consultation right there. However, this is my number one resource for refining my video setup. He's also just a freaking sweetheart and a good human being. So go support Kevin. Go check out his media. He digs in so deep into all of those aspects. So, woo, we are cruising through. I'm trying to get to everything today. Hop in the comments. Let me know if this is all making sense, if it's useful, if you already know it. We're going to cover this pretty briefly, but I do want to give you a few options when it comes to video editing software. It is infinitely hard to get a take of a video in just one take. So video editing software is going to be your best friend, so you can cut out all of the little blips and mistakes and bloopers and space. Video editing is what is going to take you to the next level. There are three basic options available. Canva, which I'm going to actually show you today because I really, really want you just to see how powerful this is as a basic tool. And then if you're ready to upgrade a little bit, and I'll say this again because as you get better at making your own content, you are developing a sellable skill. So if you actually want to learn video editing and be able to do stuff for clients, DaVinci Resolve is fantastic. It's free for their base model where you have access to just about anything you would need right off the bat. It is pro quality. It's an intermediate level of getting to know the software. It does take some learning, but there are endless opportunities on YouTube to learn about it. And when you're ready to actually buy the full suite, it's $300 one time, which I really do appreciate. Or you can get into the Adobe software. Adobe Premiere is what I use because Adobe is just what I've been working in forever. And it is high quality, it's industry standard. So it's easy for me to work with other video and audio editors. It is pro level, so it does take some work to learn. However, they do have the ability just to pay for their apps. You can edit your whole video right on your phone. So you can record the video, the audio straight to your phone, and create a edited video with music and titles and all of those things right there on your phone. So although Premiere is expensive if you want to get into the desktop software, and it does have a pretty steep learning curve when you're getting into the desktop, if you're interested in building those skills so you can sell them in the future and have video clients and all of that, Premiere is definitely the way to go. It's going to be an industry standard. Anyone you work with in the film or video audio world is going to know it. And it is a sellable skill. But even if you're just looking for a cheap and easy option, I think I actually misread it there because I think you can start by just paying $10 a month just to have the full Premiere software on your phone. You can do it on your phone or your tablet. You can edit all your videos right there. It's super intuitive. It's super easy to use. And I highly recommend it. If Canva seems too limiting, because it is pretty limited, uh, go to Premiere on your phone next and then dive into it. So Gene, you're asking real quick. I have the CC suite, so I have access to Premiere with it. Can you recommend a class or course? Gene, I should know this right off the bat. Um, but I don't have a class or course right off the bat. There are tons of great ones available. I believe Kevin Shen does have options. If not, check out his website. He lists a lot of other people. Gene, I feel really silly. I should know this, and I'm gonna prepare that for the future. I learned pretty much everything I know just searching the exact operations I wanted to know off of YouTube. Also, dive into the Adobe support. They have gotten so much better over the last 5 years in providing really, really high quality tutorials on just about everything you could need from Adobe themselves. So you know it is really valuable. Another question coming in. We do use iMovie. Which software you talked about would be the next step? So yeah, iMovie is also a fantastic place to start. DaVinci Resolve is going to be your next step, especially just start out by getting the free version. It's going to be similar enough to iMovie that you'll get the hang of it, and then only upgrade when you get when you lose track. Gene, I love this. Yes, you should launch the class. It is a video editing course is in my future, but I've got 3 other ones I'm working on right now, and they're taking long enough and requiring enough energy. As it is, I'm focusing on audio first, podcasting, and music production. But Gene, if you go to my website, sign up for my email list, you will get notified when it comes out, hopefully within the next year. Thank you for calling me out, though. You're totally right. I should. So let's just take a quick look at Canva because, like I said, I am really excited about the opportunities it poses for people who struggle in general with learning new technology or just don't want to take all the time to dive in. So, let's take a quick look at what it looks like to edit in Canva. So, once you get into Canva, you can create, and this is the desktop version, but you can do it just in your browser too. You can create a video, and then I'll show you real quick how simple it is. I have this video that I recorded when I was in Mexico a couple weeks ago, but it is a intro video for one of our spotlight events. So a little tip while recording, I think one of the easiest ways to do it is to just say each line you want to say a few times, and then you're going to splice those together into the best version over time. So if we watch this real quick, right, you'll see me pause and start over and over and over. But when it comes to editing in Canva, it's super easy. If I wanted to take out that gap, I can just find where, oh, I can find where the gap happens. And then you just cut it. I can take out the gap, put another cut. I can delete that middle section, and then I'll have a clean transition between the two. The other thing I want to show you is it's pretty easy just to add like extra music or audio underneath. You can control the volume of it up here. They have the ability to add fades in and fades out. And one of the coolest aspects, I think, is in the Canva templates here, they have tons of built-in designs. So if you wanted to throw in and have a professional looking intro video that comes in with your audio before you head over into your actual video, that's all there. And there's endless effects and options available. They have various ways you can change kind of the color of it and stuff. So if you're just getting started, Canva is an incredible tool. And just to illustrate what a final product looks like, I didn't put a splash video or anything because this was just for Spotlight. But you can see here. Oh, is this going to play for me? I hope it does. You can just see how I edited out the gaps in between. Oh, it's not going to play for me. So we're going to ignore that. But if you go to spotlightapp.io and you check out any of the last 3 intro videos we have for upcoming events where I just explain what the event is going to be about, I edited those last 3 in Canva just to see what it was like. And it ended up with a pretty darn high quality system. I also want to say, even if you edit outside of Canva and you use DaVinci Resolve or Premiere, using Canva for those intro slides and all of that, getting into motion graphics is a big lift, but you can make all those motion graphics in Canva and export them directly to Premiere or Resolve for use there rather than getting into After Effects and having to learn a whole nother complex aspect. I can't accentuate how awesome Canva is. And now that you can edit video there, it's pretty mind blowing. The last thing I want to say, and thank you folks for all hanging out. This event is going to go a little bit over, but I just wanted to share all of this with you. The last thing I'm going to say when it comes to the point of editing video or audio, and of course, this is coming with a little bias because I make my living partly editing video and audio, but it's also, I've seen time and time again, creators so focused on the editing process that they're just held up on actually putting anything out. And really, if you're spending most of your time on anything, it should be getting better at talking in front of the camera, getting better at writing scripts, getting better at making the content better. And when it comes to the editing part, sometimes it's just best to hire someone who has the skills, someone who knows what they're doing, and there are cheap options available. You can go look on Upwork, you can go to Fiverr, you can research, look up video editor on Instagram, and you should be looking to spend anywhere between $20 for just a simple little video to $300 if you have a complex video with a bunch of graphics and all that sort of stuff, but it is simply worth it. And I'm not just saying for the quality you'll get, even if they can perform similar quality. I have quite a few clients who were editing their own YouTube videos before I came in, and the quality of my videos is not necessarily better than theirs because they were already great editors. They just don't have to worry about it, and now they can focus on making the content get better. And I've seen all of my clients' videos get better, not necessarily because I'm editing, but because now they have the headspace and the time to focus on the actual content of their videos. So it is an opportunity to make a little investment, especially if you record a batch of videos for something like a course or anything like that. Just go hire someone out. It's going to feel so good when you get it back and it looks good. And also, go try a few different people. I highly recommend hiring a few different people before you find one you really like who has the right price, and you can develop a relationship with that person. That relationship goes a long way because as that person learns how you speak, how you think, how you talk, your videos, the editing style, everything is going to start to mimic that, and you're going to end up with really, really high quality content. So, all of that said, the last thing I want to cover quickly is just the mindset. And I'll repeat this again: confidence in front of the camera takes practice. Give yourself a break, give yourself some time. But there are a couple things I can recommend when it gets into it. First, if you're doing anything longer than a minute or two, script your videos. It doesn't have to be necessarily word by word, and you don't have to keep exactly to the script. But both the process of sitting down and having to script a video, where I think you create better content by having to actually write it down, is valuable. And it also gives you a frame of reference. So even if you decide to veer from the script, it's a conscious choice, it's an intentional choice. It's going to lead to you making better quality video. And like I said, when you're reading back from your script, repeat a line a few times before you even hit record. Then hit record, and as you're recording for a full video, say a line 2 or 3 times. Do your best to look at the camera when you say it, and keep saying that line until you get a good take. Again, when you go to edit, you'll cut together just all the best takes. So it may feel weird at first, but that's how you end up with those quick paced, attention grabbing YouTube style videos that so many people have such good success with. The next thing you could do is really watch others. And I'm sure you all, if you're here today, you're interested in these things. You've probably seen a lot of other creators' videos, but have you really gone and watched with a critical eye, see where they make cuts, see where their cameras place, see how they're sitting, see how they're talking? Really pay attention now that you know the tools you need and the technique behind it. Go rewatch it and take notes and try and incorporate those notes if they're things that you really want to have in your content. There is no fear of ripping someone off. We're all growing together in this world of content. So, having inspiration and taking ideas from other people is the number one way to grow and get better. Other people have worked years on developing their skill and their platform. So, take it from them, learn from them. I think it was, I forget who said this. Many people have said it was Picasso, but I think it goes back earlier than that. Good artists copy, great artists steal. So not talking any legal ramifications, but just get comfortable with the idea of seeing the way someone does it, taking that idea, making it your own, and using it. My next big bit of advice is just to shake it out. If you're recording and you're frustrated, you're not getting what you want, go take a walk around the block. Go, make yourself some coffee, think about something else, listen to your favorite music, watch TikTok for a while. Just get out of your head for a minute, because one of the number one ways to create bad quality video is to fatigue yourself over and over and over. So another great way to do it is kind of give yourself just little breaks, do 10 minutes on, 5 minutes off, 10 minutes on, 5 minutes off. Once again, if you're editing after or working with a video editor, they'll be able to put everything together in a cohesive, good format. So just give yourself a break. And the last tip in that vein is have fun. Even if you're talking about serious stuff, I'm not saying you should be lighthearted about everything, but the process of creating and getting better at creating and making high quality content should be fun. If you're not having fun, what are you doing? If you're out there trying to build your own business to make more money, to not have to work for other people, yes, all the money, all those incentives are there. But if you're not going to have fun while you're doing it, I really don't see the point. So make sure that every aspect, the challenges and every part of it, and when you show up to be in front of the camera, bring a good attitude, have fun, also because it translates. I hope it translates when I'm here today that I have a blast doing these. That wasn't always the case. I used to be very camera shy. I used to hate it. I used to feel gross in front of the camera. But once I started to show up with a positive attitude, ready to have fun, I had a lot more fun. And hopefully you do as well, because I think it's more engaging to watch someone who's having a good time than someone who is all bummed out about it. So, those are my tips. I hope today was helpful. I know that we were very general with a lot of things. So please, please let me know if there's anything I didn't cover enough or dive into. I'm going to let there be a second if any more comments roll in. But thank you, everyone, so much for showing up today. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube if you're having a good time. And when you're ready to start sharing your videos, if you want to build courses, mini courses, or launch coaching products, anything like that, check out Teachable. You can sign up completely for free, not a freemium, not like any, trial, but there is actually just a free plan where you can tackle most of the things I've talked about: building courses, coaching products, all of that, and start sharing your content and growing an internet knowledge based business. The free plan allows you to do all of those things. And if you need a little help getting started there, don't forget that we have in the description two great resources for you. One is a free PDF called How to Sell an Online Course. It's valuable if you're looking to sell online courses, but there's also just a wealth of information there about marketing, about filming your content, about social media. Everything within the ecosystem of selling online courses is in that PDF, and it's super helpful. And if you need some help getting started on the Teachable platform itself, we at Spotlight built a mini course that is just for you. It's called Establish Your Internet Home Base on Teachable. It's a 5-day challenge, although if you sign up, it is 100% free and you will have access to it for life. We just challenge you to do it in 5 days, because with 10 to 15 minutes a day, you can establish a beautiful homepage on Teachable that highlights your business and your brand and has the opportunity for potential customers to sign up for your email list. So if you don't have a place where people can sign up for your email list and are interested interested in hearing from you for in the future, that mini course and a Teachable free plan is there for you. It's a fantastic resource, and in 5 days you can have that established, so you at least have somewhere to point people to tell them, this is my business, this is what I'm doing, and this is what we tackle. So, real quick, I want to answer a couple questions before we wrap up. Nancy had a question. Do you ever recommend learning to use a prompter for long videos? Yes, if it works for you. I get distracted by prompters, so I'll typically just have my script up on my laptop or iPad in front of me. And in the last year, 2 years where I've been doing that regularly, I've really gotten to the point where I can read almost a full paragraph and repeat it out, not word for word, but almost better because it's more spoken just from reading it. So it is a skill you're going to get better at. Teleprompters are fantastic for some people. Try it out. There are cheap setups you can get to use an iPad or a phone as a teleprompter. So try that first before investing in a bunch of money. And if you're interested in doing live content where you want to be like scripted live, yes, you will probably need a teleprompter because you don't have the ability of editing down the road. So if you are doing live presentations or anything like that where you need word by word text there, getting familiar with a teleprompter is a fantastic uh source and also just an incredible skill. If you can look at that teleprompter and read it out right as you go, you are going to be a valuable live presenter wherever you go. Last question I got here, which is a little unrelated, but I want to answer. I'm a little confused regarding the difference between a community and a membership on Teachable. So really, I'm going to try and answer this as quick as I can because we're wrapping up in time. They can be one and the same. A membership is just implying that someone pays monthly, bi-monthly, whatever you determine, for access to certain things. So you could just have a pre-recorded course be charged on a membership. So I could say, rather than charging you $200 for my course and giving you lifetime access, I'm just going to charge you $9 a month for as long as you want access to the course. That would be a membership pricing model. A community is usually where you're actually bringing people together. There's a place for people to talk to each other. You're fostering a group of people. Usually that also requires that you show up regularly, that you're providing regular additional value. Really, I highly recommend that you go to the Spotlight YouTube channel and look up Jay Klaus. We just did an event a couple weeks ago with him that was just a really casual heart-to-heart interview about building community for your students. And he did a fantastic job of building that. And he's been through quite the journey of podcasts, courses, all of those things to get to the point where he is. But it really is proving to be a fantastic model for a lot of creators. And he speaks very expertly about the upsides and downsides of that. So please go watch that video. And just to answer your last question there before we sign off, yes, you do need a third-party app for the community. There are free ones available like Discord or even just Facebook groups, which are great because everyone's already on Facebook. But we at Teachable have partnered with Circle because they do a stellar job at creating a community platform, and Circle integrates natively with Teachable. So if you really want the full package that works all together and gives a perfect experience for your students, Circle is going to be the place for you. All right. I don't have any more time to answer any more questions or anything, but it seems like y'all got some value here, that you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for being here today. Please go check out the Spotlight website, spotlightapp.io, to see what events are coming in the future. Next week, we're doing 3 events a week and continuing just to crank this out. Also, if you had a good time here today, you can like and subscribe to the Spotlight YouTube channel. Make sure notifications are on. You'll get pinged anytime we add a new live event. And if you want the easiest way, in the description as well, along with all those other resources I mentioned that are there for you, including starting a free Teachable account just to get familiar with the platform before you start building products. But in the description as well, you can click the link to sign up for the Spotlight newsletter. That way, you'll just get regular updates about what new events are coming, bonus offers that we do, regular discounts for Teachable products and other creators' products. So, being part of our newsletter is the easiest way for you just to get regular updates about what's going on. We really do our best not to spam you. We're not trying to send you more than just a couple emails a week, just to let you know what resources and options are available. So, thank you, everybody. It's been a blast as always. I love seeing the people who are repeats here, and please come back to future events. It's always a blast. And if you're watching live or watching the replay, I just want to encourage you once again to hop in the comments, talk to the other people there, and let us know what challenges you're facing and what events you would like to see in the future. I'll come up with them on my own because I know the challenges that a lot of people face, but I would love to hear from you what events you would like to see so we can answer those needs. We're here to help you tackle all of the challenges you might face on your journey to become an online entrepreneur. Thank you, everybody. I had a blast with you today. Make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out those additional resources, they're super valuable. And I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you.